Hey guys, Mas Sajady here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing fantastic. Good evening, morning, afternoon. It's morning here in Minneapolis. Here, it's beautiful. It's a ton of snow. It's like a winter wonderland. So welcome to the new year. A lot of things happening. A lot of things changing. Obviously, you can see me. I've changed. How do you guys like the new look? Yep, Carolyn. Oh my God, the hair. Yep. What do you think? Well, however it looks bad or good to you, to me, it was really a fantastic, uh, opportunity for me to transform and change. It's like a new beginning, especially after my third near death that I had last year in Peru. So somebody lost their hair. Oh, should I? Oh, Alex did it too. Alex and I, we decided to dive in. Alex and I, by the way, we're gonna be doing a new podcast. It's called XI Cyrus Society, and it's a podcast for well, the new man, the new human, what a man should be into the new world. It'll also help the women understand what a strong feminine is. So a strong masculine identity, a strong feminine identity, which is really fantastic, right? And it's not about physical sexes or anything like that. It literally is about your identity that you are. So you can embrace who you are. And that's the most important thing this year alone, guys, is embracing who you are. It's going to be really fantastic. Most people start to embrace who they are outside of themselves. Okay. And that's not where you want to be because this is where karma comes in. And we're going to be talking about the deep science or explaining what karma really is from an XI point of view. And an XI point of view is always the first principles level or the top level on, say, what karma is. So I'm going to go into a little first principles on karma. And then I've got some stuff going on that's really exciting for you to listen up to. That's going to be coming up. Really exciting stuff for for Moss on Sunday. Somebody says, "Oh, ageless Moss." Oh, thanks. Yeah, a lot of people are going, "God, I look younger and younger and more vibrant." Yeah, so feeling that way more and more every day. But the transformation, how many of you have gone through the transformation of like transforming your life and changing your life so dramatically that, well, your physical body can't keep up with it just yet because it's shifting and it's changing and it's transforming, well, everything about you, including, say, your genetic makeup, right? So, and that's part of karma as well, is like what you bring in. A lot of people think, well, if I'm a good person and then and I'm a bad person, people look at karma in that sense. Good person, bad person, right? You do good things, you have good karma. But in reality, karma dictates pretty much the definition of karma, and I'll get into it in just a second. Um, the definition of karma literally affects everything that you do. Okay, and I'll talk about the definitions again, like I said, in just a second. But it affects your health, it affects your business, it affects your love life, it affects your spiritual connection, everything. Okay, and karma to me or to an XI point of view is literally what's happened in the past for you. You're bringing that back. Okay, now there's some myths about karma that we're going to clarify here, and I want you to bring some of that out. And Demi, if you can like highlight some of the myths or just tell me some of the comments because I can't read all the comments. Uh, yeah, some of the myths that Yeah, well, you can just talk to me about, some of the good, questions that people are asking. How's that, Demi? Yeah. Yeah. Alright. So, on backstage, I've got Demi, cool guy, he's in the Ukraine, seen some wicked stuff. Maybe, um yeah, maybe we could do a podcast on, what is actually happening in the Ukraine, so I think that'd be kinda cool to have, who's backstage, come up. Yeah. So yep, yep. So and obviously he does XI because he's our team member here, but yeah, I think that'd be kinda cool, as well. Alright, so back to karma. So we're gonna get into what karma really thing is, what karma, really is about. Everything is karma, and again, karma is, say, the after effects of the programs and patterns that you run. Okay, so in an XI point of view, literally, karma is an after effect of everything that it's an after effect of everything that happens to you. Okay, so what we need to understand is, again, karmic field, and there's a lot of myths about that, and I want to dispel some of those myths. Okay, the energy that people get in from karma or karmic debt, all those things can be explained science wise or XI wise, XI science on that. Does qigong, help you release karma? So, qigong, any of those physical things we do, is it helps you start to release if you start to realize or understand that it's an underlying effect. So when you do karmic debt, for example, when you're paying karmic debt back, okay, by doing good deeds, you're not releasing, and this is the one key trait that karma or people don't understand about karma. Again, when you pay back karmic debt, say that you've got a shitty life, right? You've done everything and your life, still sucks, right? Life is mean to you, right? And you do, I don't know, you feed somebody, some guy, you give somebody a hamburger on the street that's homeless, you go help somebody across the street. So again, good person deeds and things like that, right? So that'll make you feel better, on the surface, but it doesn't release. Again, it doesn't release the underlying programming or the underlying patterns. Just like psychology and NLP and any of those, success, right? Finding a new partner, anything of that nature that you do on the outside does not say release your karmic debt, right? Just like XI literally is, or if you can access the levels of XI, that's when you start to release karmic debt. This is where you start to understand and release and go, oh, there's patterns and there's programs that are dictating the way I run that go beyond my physical consciousness here. And that's the most important thing. So I just want to say that again. Again, no matter what you do at a physical level, people are talking about purgatory and so on like that. Religions, tell you that, do good deeds. You sinned, and that's a terrible thing as well, because it's like, oh my God, what the hell did I do in my previous lifetime to have, say, a life like I do today, right? And then you get into that pattern. I must be a bad person, and that's a cycle that's not hard to break with XI, but it's a bad cycle, because no matter what you do, if you're thinking that you sinned in a previous lifetime, look at the logic. Okay, you send something back here in a previous lifetime. Okay, so what that means, it's in your genetic pattern, it's in your genetic makeup. And now what you're trying to do is try to be a good person. You try to read the Bible or any other religious text and do all the things that, again, that dictates that you're a good person. But no matter what you do at a physical level, does it change your genetic makeup? Right? It doesn't change your genetic makeup. You become a better person. Yes, on the surface level, you become a better person, but that karmic debt does not get released. How do you release that karmic debt? By going into your genetic code. I would call it your DNA, and that's how do you get into your genetic level? How do you get into your code? By spatial referencing, observing, say, the patterns that you're running. XI, that's it's all about XI. Again, accessing the portion of the programming or accessing, say, your previous, say, genetic makeup or your genetic code that you've inherited, whether you believe in previous lifetimes or you think it's a genetic, again, transference from your hereditary, basically. If you want to call it hereditary, I just call it genetic transference. Um, whether it's from that, the only way you can access it is to access that level of, say, programming. Okay. For example, if you have, say, a propensity of heart disease, right? If you have a propensity of heart disease that happens in your family over and over and over again, that doesn't mean that you have heart disease. It just means that you have a higher propensity. So even sometimes, even if the foods that you eat and so on like that, no matter what you do, you take really good care of yourself, you might have a high propensity and then you'll get heart disease, right? That would be, say, a karmic debt based upon your physical hereditary structure that you got or you inherited from, say, back here or a previous lifetime. So no matter how you got that debt, right? You're paying for it in this reality, in this level. How do you clean that up? Well, you would have to go into a level where you are, say, accessing the programming, and that's what XI will do for you. And so take a deep breath in, and I'll help you get into this experience as I speak about karma. Take a deep breath in. Okay. Um, okay. Yeah. Take a deep breath in. Again, just notice where you are. Do you have karmic debt? Notice the answer. Notice your chest. Where does that karmic debt come from? As you start to release your karma or that karmic debt, what I'm actually helping you do here, as you notice your bones, your skeletal system, your shoulders, your ribs, your spine, your hips, it's where we keep a lot of, say, that debt. It's embedded in our bones, right? So we can access your super intelligence. For those who do, your super intelligence, well, is your, say, mainframe or your global settings on how you operate your life. So when you can access your super intelligence and go beyond that a bit, that's where you can release your karmic debt. As I start to work on you, comment in on how you're feeling. Some of you, it might feels like a good number of you is just like, oh shit, something just released in me. That's that karmic debt. Did you do anything to release that karmic debt for those? Well, I know you did something, but did you do anything psychologically here to release that karmic debt? Or did it just go, whoa, what was that? What was it that just left me? Right? I know there's a lot of you experiencing that, right? Some of you not feeling good. Yep, because you that's good. Okay. Some of you really relaxed. The people that aren't might not be feeling good or got worse, say, so to speak. You're facing what you've been through, right? Now, say you went through a horrid experience. Say your house is on fire. You ran away from the house, okay? And now you're looking back at the house and going, "Oh my God, that was my life. That could have been me in that house." So those people who aren't, say, feeling that good, detox. Those people that aren't feeling that good, it's because you're releasing and you're observing and you're noticing what you've been through or what program you're running. Okay, so it's a separation of, say, your karmic debt, so to speak. Okay, some of you, again, feeling the heaviness, all that is about the karmic debt. So I'm going to go through some really good questions um, as I continue to work on you. So let's take a deep breath in. Okay, for those who are new, I know this is kind of a strange show for you, right? But this is advanced technologies. This is advanced frequencies. Again, for those who are new, the future of transformation is XI, is about frequencies. It's about the frequencies that you resonate, not psychology or anything like that. Although, adjusting your brain waves and all that, those are things that we need to do. But the core level transformations that people are looking for that transform your life in such a fast manner is about accessing the frequencies that generate you here in, say, your multidimensional self. So it's about time and space, right? I'm not going to get into the details because that's a whole different subject. I've done content on that. So if you're new, again, welcome. You can check the rest of Moss on Sunday, or you can look at the XI podcast, Exponential Intelligence podcast, to understand where I'm coming from at first. Again, for new people, it's like, shit, who the hell is this guy? I, what the hell is he saying? That's totally cool. It's a whole different level of learning. You have to step outside of your own boundaries to really heal. That's what Einstein says. That's what all the great, say, inventors or those great individuals. You always have to step outside of a reality to find a solution to that reality. You can't find a solution within the reality that you're in. Right? That's an Einstein quote, not verbatim, but again, basically that's what he said, and that's what XI does for you. So again, if you're not understanding it or getting confused about it, it's because you're trying to create this reality from this reality, and then you're trying to change it from within. You can't do that. You'd have to step outside. All right. So as you take a deep breath in, just notice your spine. This is really good. This is from Melody. Can you release karmic debt for the whole family, deleting generational issues? Yes, you can release karmic debt for yourself. Okay. And it depends on if you are a kingpin or not. And I'm not going to describe a kingpin, but, uh, because again, that's an hour long course. A kingpin, in short, is, say, somebody that is a leader in the family frequency wise. You might not be, say, the leader physically. You might be, that not the most successful one, but, say, people always come to you. People always approach you in a family stature or around your friends and so on, right? So as you change, you notice that your family changes and so on, like that. Yes, so those are opportunities for your family to release the karmic debt as well. Okay, or that's how you can release it. Again, by becoming a kingpin or shifting into a leadership position, like most of you do through XY. This one's Billy. Says, Moss, my understanding is karma is not action causing an opposite action correct. Absolutely. Again, thanks for the question, Billy. Yes, absolutely. That's what's happening. Most people go, oh, because I did this, I'm going to go do the opposite. Nope, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out in any situation, whether it is generational patterns or physical patterns. Okay, because you're a bad person and you did something bad to somebody, you're going to go do something nice. How many people have done that in a relationship, right? You did something wrong, in your love relationship or any other relationship, right? And then you go and be nice to that person. It feels okay and it feels good, but it's kind of like putting topping on something and trying to cover it up, right? You didn't go into the core level program or core level problem on why you don't treat that person, say, nice in the first place, right? You're just and then later on, what happens? And it happens all over and over again, right? You do something bad to that person again, and then you try to be, you try to be nice to them. No, we need to not just be always be nice to them at a surface level, because then it creates tension underneath. We have to go into, again, that super intelligence, or your origin of where your frequencies resonate from, or your origin of where you create yourself, your super intelligence. Okay. This one's from Sage. Feel like karma has been turned into a control mechanism to make sure behave, otherwise you'll get punished by your own reflections. Yes, that's basically what you used to run, say. Absolutely. A lot of people, this is where religions, this is where parents, this is where society, if you're not a good person, you're going to burn in hell, right? That scenario, no matter how that looks like. If you're not good as a child, you don't get, say, you don't get the treats that you want, and so on like that. Those are all, say, patterns or ways of, say, teaching you that karma exists, right? If you're not a good person, um, if you're not a good person, or if you're on the naughty list for, if you're on the naughty list for Santa Claus, you're going to get a piece of coal, right? Those things get embedded in your brain, and it's not a good thing, guys. It's not a good thing. Just like teaching cats. Cats are very interesting because they're very close to human. I watched a documentary on cats. It's the what I don't know, the brain of cats or whatever. It was on, I think it was on Netflix. It was really good. And they said that punishment for cats is not a good thing. You can punish dogs and so on because, again, maybe not high level intelligence, but for cats, when you punish them, they run away from you. They stay away from you, and that's a lot of you either run away from your parents, society, even yourself. But you can't run away from yourself. It's like running away from your shadow, right? And then you keep punishing yourself, which again creates that separation, and that's what's happened in today's society over all this bullshit about, if you're not good, you're going to be, god's going to God's watching you. How many people heard that when you were, in when you were a kid? God's watching you, right? And even if you're doing something good, right, you always think, shit, did I do that the best version that I could, or what? So you always think that you're bad, or you always think that you're on the brink of being bad. It's not a good thing. Just like the cats, they always think that way, right? So when you're teaching your children, put them in a positive light. If they're doing something that you don't like, say, shift their perception, or shift their focus onto, say, as a better version of that. And then later on, talk to them. It's like, hey, you know what? That's not the best thing for you. Okay, this is a better version, and again, perpetuate them to go towards something that's beneficial, not, say, run away from something. Okay, so again, those, and then once they start to understand the concept of, say, what's good and what's not bad, because people don't know, or young kids don't know what's good or bad. That's the important thing. I'm talking about this because many of you, well, many of you gone through being a little kid, th- and thinking that way, or growing up that way. So I'm helping you heal that younger child of yourself. And then I'm also helping you, parents who are raising, kids, to hopefully do it right. Take a breath in again. Financial debt, anything like that. um, this one. So being in financial debt is probably just a reflection of karmic or spiritual debt, right? Um, Not necessarily, although it could show up. So it's not always true. Spiritual debt basically is a, not debt that you have, or financial issues that people have. There's lots of reasons why people have financial issues. So it's a big subject, so we won't cover everything about it. Maybe on another topic, but not necessarily. But yes, sometimes it is a spirit debt that you're paying back, but it's not a debt. Financial debt is not a debt. Okay, guys, again, it's an after effect of your, it's an after effect of your patterns and programming. Okay, it's very important because that literally spins you around back into you're repaying the debt. Okay, you do not have to pay a debt back, by the way, once you awaken. Okay, once you get rid of your patterns and programs, that debt is paid back for you. Okay, so again, it's a very critical, or very, like, s- uh, uh, um, subject that has a nuance to it, and it might get confusing. But again, when you talk about debt or karmic debt, or spiritual debt, financial debt, you always feel like, again, you have to pay that debt back. That's not true. You change the channel. Okay. So, for example, if you don't like one station that you're, watching, and you flip the channel, did you have to pay something to flip the channel? You didn't. The only debt that you have to pay back is the loss, so to speak, of your old self. Okay. Which is worth it, right? And that's what real debt means. So again, don't confuse like financial debt as an outcome, say, of spiritual debt or karmic debt, right? Spiritual debt, boom, you have to awaken. And sometimes what happens when you awaken from spiritual debt that you pay, and again, spiritual debt is not something that you've done wrong. Okay. It's just something that you've inherited. You've inherited the debt, so to speak, of your family, right? Hereditary patterns, financial patterns, and so on, like that. Okay. All right. This one. Doesn't this also work in the opposite way, making people more passive because the leaders surely will get what's coming for them through karma, so no need to change anything yourself? Not necessarily understanding the question there, but it is interesting. So, say that leaders did something wrong, right? And it's a big subject again. Say the leaders, went the wrong way. Say that they created a vaccine that wasn't, say, the best for you, just hypothetically. And a lot of people got sick, and they died, and they have like all these crazy diseases now that are going to happen in the future. I mean, just hypothetically, right? Uh, so what is going to happen to all of them? Okay. Well, back in the day, okay, now this is very different. Okay, back in the day, what would happen is that debt. Let's just call it a debt. Okay, just for because everybody understands debt. Back in the day, that debt would be cycled into their genetic pattern. Unfortunately, when that genetic pattern gets cycled in, right, that maniacal pattern, so to speak, of controlling people, what happened? The next generation gets more maniacal. The next generation gets more maniacal. That makes sense to you. Again, because it's evolution in your genetic makeup. If it's in your genetic makeup, say it expands if we don't let go of it from that generation, it goes into the next generation, the next generation, the next generation. That's why you see in these families who have, say, started out good, they worked their asses off, they were brilliant, but then over time, somehow they sold themselves, so to speak. Again, that's debt. Okay. We'll talk about that as well if we get time. We'll talk about that. But again, what happens to those types of individuals most likely, especially who are leader types, right? The blue blood, so to speak. I'm talking about high level people, the blue blood. Yes, so that's in their genetic pattern, and it again propagates throughout, and the generations, the current generation, they get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay, so because they don't understand, or they don't know how to, say, hold on or control that, say, that maniacal pattern that they have. On the flip side, just to give you an example, okay, is that somebody starts a business, right? Pure version, pure XI version, they did it the right way, and then their kids inherit that business. Within 2 generations, that business most likely has gone bust, because again, the kids didn't understand, or they didn't learn how to control the level of consciousness that say financial, say, opportunity was, that that the parents worked for. Does that make sense? The kids just naturally grew into it, but they didn't have the logistics to stay at that level, so that's why they go bust. Much like those individuals who won the lottery, they go bust afterwards, again, because they can't stay in there. Okay, so that's a little different than, again, perpetuating, say, this maniacal pattern of controlling people. If you look at Bill Gates' family, he's not the first one, by the way. They started Planned Parenthood. They started some things, again, not their parents, their grandparents, and so on like that. It's always about, say, controlling people. It was always bringing about, reducing population and all that. Again, that godlike attitude. That's what happens. Okay, so now I've explained the old version on what's happened, but this is a new theme, guys, and this is what I've been telling you for years and years. What's happening now, okay, what's happening now in this new reality, and this is how the world is changing. Somebody asked me, it's like, everybody says the world is changing, but what do you mean by that? What's so different? The world has never changed. There's a lot of things that are the same. There's a lot of things that are um, um, you know uh, have changed quite a bit. Well, not necessarily. I'm talking about a space-time level. Okay, so the world expands. It's always expanding. So it's always changing. So space and time is changing. That's what's the real change, by the way. Okay. As this changes, well, we can hold on to our old patterns. And that's why in today's reality, well, you can go, shit, there's a lot of changes happening, but then yet things have stayed the same. Your opportunity for change has changed. That's really the key. Your opportunity for change has transformed and shifted into a higher level. So you have access more tools that are better for you to transform. Okay. So in this reality, say you have that maniacal, say, frequency, or what happens to those leaders, like Hitler and so on like that. Okay. Is just that. What happens is that those individuals start to awaken. And then, do they pay back their karmic debt? Well, just like you who go through detox at your level, they go through detox at their level. So if they're like, again, 90% maniacal, right, in their genetic makeup, their genetic code, and this reality that we have fallen into, come into, or ascended into, says, hey, you can't hold on to that bullshit anymore. You have to release it. Well, as you release to clean up, it's going to be very, very painful. So if you want to call that karmic debt, yeah, sure you can. Okay. So and that's what's happening. That's what's happening to many of you, by the way. You're releasing, say, that karmic debt. One thing is another question. Is karma a distortion of its own, or is it within the uh, distortion patterns we carry? Yes. So again, karma again is an after effect or a symptom. Excuse me. Karma is after a symptom of the pattern that you're running. Okay, your genetic makeup, the patterns that you're running, and all that. Okay, it is a symptom. It is an after effect. It's the cause of, say, the patterns that you're running. Simple as that. Again, heart disease, the after effect or your karmic debt would be that you would have a higher propensity or have heart issues. Okay. Does that make sense for you? Okay. Any other, are there like simple, does that answer, say, some of the simple questions? I know I got into it kind of deep, but that should answer some of the simple questions. Again, you know, so some of those basic questions, we'll get into that. Some of the basic questions that I'm thinking of is like, okay, in one lifetime, say I killed somebody, I killed somebody, and now in this lifetime, I'm paying back that karmic debt, right? No, it doesn't work out that way, by the way. So if you did something bad in one lifetime, the opposite, you're paying for it in this lifetime. And it just switches back and forth, right? Not necessarily. From what I've seen, is karma different from curses? Yeah. So we'll talk about that. So from what I've seen working on hundreds of thousands of client sessions, is usually a pattern perpetuates, just like that maniacal pattern gets embedded and then it perpetuates, right, into your genetic pattern, and that becomes part of you. Again, it enhances. So if you've been a bad person, say, in a previous lifetime, and again, bad defined on however, in this case, it's just a genetic pattern, bad. Okay. Most likely your family is bad. Most likely your next generation or your next lifetime is going to be bad. You perpetuate that pattern. It doesn't go back and forth. Okay. The only way it does that, if you're awakened, so to speak, to a level that says, oh, I was a bad person then, and then consciously you decided to become, say, a good person, but again, that doesn't work out either for you because one, most people aren't that awakened to understand that. Okay. And then two, they're not awakened to go, oh, I was a bad person in this previous lifetime. I say this because a lot of people who go into death, and some of you might be having parents, right, or loved ones that are experiencing death. Okay, again, from old age or maybe from, I don't know, something happening to them as the world transitions, right? A lot of people are dying. That's a karmic, say, that's not a karmic debt, but that's the explanation of, again, too much darkness within them. So they would have to cross over because their physical body can't handle, say, being cleaned out that deep. Simple as that. Okay. Let's take a deep breath in again. Let's see. So, is there something special to focus on to clear this pattern or debt? Yes, doing XI, again, starting to become aware of the patterns that you're running. How do you become aware of the patterns that you're running? Through spatial referencing. What is spatial referencing? We teach that in the 18 days coming up, or even the elevation coming up in February. We teach that the hyper meditations that literally transform you at your, say, super intelligence or at your core level. Okay. So the way you do that is that you start to observe, say, the action. So the way you would have to release, the way you would release karmic debt is basically, think of it as, say, a coordinate in space and time. Okay. Because that's what it is. A coordinate in space and time. As you release that, you're in position A. Okay. You would have to move to another position and observe the debt or the patterns that you have. Okay. So again, you'd have to step out of yourself to understand where you are. To do that, you do spatial referencing or notice an object, for example, I don't know, the window that's in front of me, and then say a body part. I know it sounds really, really strange, but that's the beginning, very, very, say, um, uh, simple example of spatial referencing. But if you do that, notice an object and then notice a body part. Again, even if you're new, just give it a try. I know it sounds funny. I know it's like, oh, what the hell is this guy talking about? Sure. Okay. That's great. That's fine, you know, but just give it a try. Okay. You've tried everything else. Just give it a try, spatial reference all the time. And you'll start to see it's like, oh my God, I'm running this pattern. How many have tried spatial referencing in the beginning that didn't say believe in it, but it's like, "Fuck, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to spatial reference," right? How many of you have tried that and it's actually worked for you? Again, comment in. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay. It puts you out, again, out of, say, that dimension it puts you out of that filter that you're always, say, seeing yourself through. So it's like taking your glasses off and seeing how you see yourself with those glasses. Okay, that's one of the best ways, if you're going to be on your own, to again, say, remove that karmic debt or pay back that karmic debt. Again, you're not paying anything back. You're awakening. Okay, say you're in a bad dream. If you're in a bad dream, you wake up. Did you pay anything other than waking up? Did you pay anything to, say, get out of that bad dream? Okay. So what you're doing with XI, the key is that you're not paying anything back, guys. Okay. So as we end this conversation with karma, just remember, overall, you cannot, say, repay back that karmic debt. Simple as that. Okay. By your actions or anything else that you do in physical form. Okay. How you release yourself from karmic debt is, again, elevate yourself to a different level of consciousness or a different dimension of your reality and move away from, say, those genetic patterns that created that karmic debt for you. And by the way, you did not, most likely did not create the debt or the karma that you're in. You perpetuated, say, that debt that you inherited from your parents. Because over 90% of you, of your makeup, again, you've inherited from your parents, and then you perpetuate it. Right. All right. Um, Spatial referencing is outstanding. Using that tool all day, every day. Yep. So I would, for those people who are again new spatial, I would suggest listening to this talk over, not just because of the physical content, but the frequencies lying underneath it. Okay. All right. This was a game changer. Thank you so much. This actually, I think this topic or this conversation actually released us from that pattern of thinking that you're a good person or bad person, because deep inside, we've been wired through generations to always go, if I'm doing this, is it good or bad? Again, a survival mechanism that's supposed to enhance you, like it does animals in nature, has turned into a debt, right? It has turned into, say, a curse or a cloud that always is hovering over us. And then we're always going, shit, I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person. Animals or nature doesn't think that way. It's like good choice, bad choice. If I take this choice, it's going to be beneficial for me, and that's all they think about it. Right? They don't go, oh, if I did the X, good person, bad person. Do you see the difference? If you want to release your karmic debt at a physical or conscious level, okay, as you awaken, start to notice, and this is where many of you who've done the 18 days hyper meditations or anything, personal private sessions, things of that nature, that you start to see, it's like, oh, if I do this choice, right, it's not going to be best for me. If I do this choice, it's going to be a better version of me. You don't, if I do this, I'm going to be a good person. If I do this, I'm going to be a bad person. That's a way of how XI releases your karmic debt, by the way. Okay. All right. So we've got some good things before we get into scanning individuals live on, say, what's going on. Uh, um, uh, Again, if you're new, say, hey, Moss, I'm new. I'll scan you. I'll tell you what's going on. I don't need to know your real name, your age, and all that stuff. You can just go, hey, scan me, and we'll get into that. But what is that Newcom? Okay, that's a really good question. So Newcom is a company. It's a really good company. They create brain frequencies. Okay, and machines like this have been around, but Newcom, I think, it is one of the best ones around. Really good. A lot of, say, patent technology behind it. Over 35 years experience with Newcom and so on like that. Again, scientific experience, scientific, say, data, scientific implementation on the background on how brain frequencies and so on change. So that's the brain frequency. So again, we joined together with Newcom at some level. Again, we're just testing it out. Some of you might have been on that pilot program where Newcom and I did a hyper meditation for Newcom. They're going to put it through, process it into their technology, and see. It was on de-stressing yourself, and see how well it works combining the technology, because they do brain technology, right? They adapt your brain to be, say, its most optimum self. I don't do that, although it does happen at a deeper level. What I do is awaken. So your core level here is what I create. Okay. If you want to think of it as an example, if you're on a car, you're in a car, right? They optimized your car. They optimized your engine. They tuned your engine, and now you're good. And sometimes they even change your car from, say, a crappy car into a nice Ferrari or nice, Lamborghini or something like that. Again, they adapt. So, so that's optimizing your brain. That's optimizing your physical mechanism. Okay. What I do, or what XI does, exponential intelligence, becoming exponential intelligence, the road that you're on. Say that you have an optimized car, right? Lamborghini, and the road that you're on is full of potholes, that you got to watch out for. Some of the stuff has been, washed away. That's the way, the family pattern, right? So what we do with XI here is literally create a clear path for you, right? So now you have a clear path, and now you can reach your full potential using that optimized car. So that's the connection between XI and Newcom. Okay, really cool stuff. Okay, because most people are going, Moss, I've changed so much. Now what do I do? Right? Because XI is not about the physical thing. So leadership training and so on like that, working with Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza and all of those individuals. Again, it's a great component, or it's a great piece once you do, or even after you've done all that stuff. Come back to XI if you've done all that stuff. And then what happens for you, again, you have a better, smoother path to go down on. Okay. So, again, so we're going to get into scanning you. But before we do that, this is really exciting, guys. Next week, we're going to show you the power of XI. We're going to show you, say, how impact, how impactful, how fast, how impactful XI is to transforming your life. No matter what you've done in the past, Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, Newcomb, or whatever it is, why haven't you changed the way you have? Because that missing piece, like I said, the road that you're driving on, your path, wasn't, well, it wasn't the best. So what we've done is we're going to do impact sessions coming up next week on Moss on Sunday. So these are live sessions for you, for those who sign up, and you can register. The team is going to post the link on it for you. These are live sessions that people get to, say, view on Moss on Sunday, which is really cool. Each session is 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we're going to have a coordinator that says, "Hey, Moss," because sometimes I'm just too giving sometimes, and it's like I go on forever. One, it gets kind of boring for those people watching, but again, 5 minutes a piece, guys. After 5 minutes, I tell you at a deeper level, you converse with me, so you're on camera, right? People get to see you. It's really a great experience, and then people also get to see, say, the transformation in your face. So we basically, if you've been here before, at the end of the month, right? We pick two people and we bring them on. Okay, we're gonna pick 9 people. Okay, 9 people, 60 minutes, 5 minutes apiece. Nine times five. Yeah, a little bit more than an hour. But again, we're going to pick 9 people, and we're going to go down the line. We're going to go into in depth on how fast, again, 5 minutes, your life can transform. Okay, just like we do the sessions at the end of the month for some of you, right? And your life is transformed within those 5-6 minutes. It's going to be here. So. So if you want to sign up for that, obviously we only have 9 spots, guys. So not a lot of spots. So we'll put you on a waiting list for that. Okay. The team put a link on there for you if you want to be part of that impact session. Just note it is a public event. People will notice you and understand you, and understand the situations. Obviously, I'm not going to go into the deep, 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 deep personal problems, but and we don't even have to talk about them. But again, it's a fantastic opportunity for who are new to understand the power of, say, what we have within our, say, grasp, within our identity of who we are. Okay. That power to transform ourselves within ourselves, not outside, not using AI or anything like that. So that's coming up for you. Also, let's see. We've got medicine and mindset coming up. I think that's an interview coming up. That's January 25th. The Be Limitless Wellness Gala. That's January 29th. That's coming up. All these details, guys, are on the website, massajady.com. Personal deprogramming, releasing the past. That's coming up January 31st for you. This is really fantastic for those individuals who set New Year's resolutions, right? Because in the beginning, we always set New Year's resolutions. And then what most people do, and again, statistics, by the end of January, they've gone back to their old pattern and paradigm. Why does that happen? Well, there's a reason for that. We didn't release the underlying pattern. That was what personal deprogramming is going to be about. And then personal optimization coming up February 3rd for stabilization. Again, creating new stability in your new paradigm. Also, don't forget, guys, coming up in March, I'll be in LA for the Best You. So live in March at the Best You coming up for you. All right, so let's get into this one's Happy Lunar New Year, the true New Year. Yes, that is true. It's the Chinese New Year because the Chinese New Year is always by the moon. So Um, so the Chinese New Year always moves. Okay. All right. This one. So let's go into um, the scans here. I have to read this because of where we are today here. This is Mas Sajady, Exponential Intelligence, Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. Please consult your doctor for professional advice. Again, I'm not a financial analyst, doctor, or anything like that. If I see something, again, make your own judgment, ask or seek professional advice or your internal self. If you ask to be scanned today, you are agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help inspire others. So remember, if you don't want us to share your session, don't call back and go, hey, I need that session, just delete it. No, we're not going to do that for you. Don't ask to be scanned. Okay. There's private sessions. There's other ways you can connect with me. Okay. All contents are protected by copyright. You may not use our content in any way, shape, or form for any purpose without my written permission. So again, if you want to be scanned, again, guys, please ask just once. Otherwise, the team will delete your comments, and then it's not going to be good for you. Okay. Let's see here. This one, be aligned. Hi, Moss. Please, could you scan me? By the way, if I do scan you, can you please comment in on the accuracy? Again, it's not for me, it's for you to understand it. It makes it more believable for you. Okay. I've done enough of these where I know I'm accurate, about 99.9999% accurate. But it's for you and it's for those individuals who are up and coming in their abilities to go, oh wow, where did he tap into that? How, what consciousness, or what grid out there, what part of the matrix did Moss tap into? So it really benefits you. Okay. All right. So be aligned, Hamas. Could you please scan me? Thanks. Yes. So it seems like you at a level, whatever you've done with XI, it seems like you are, say, releasing. Hey, Demi, can you give me like a timer too? Like maybe 1 minute or 2 minute timer, maybe on the, I think that's good. Can do 2 minutes, I think, is good. So for you, anyway, for you, there's something about, say, a masculine frequencies in you. So either men have dominated you, or oh, that's what it is. Yeah. Boom, boom. So your mom was, say, let's just say, an addict at some level. Okay, when you're a little kid, you're looking at your parents and going, comparing it to your handbook, right? So your handbook on, say, what a true human is, right? What pure potential of humanity is. And you look at your mom and you go, shit, she doesn't, she's not she's not the best, say, example of what an optimized woman would be. Let's just put it that way. Okay. However that is. So what you done, seems like, is that you might be female, you're female, and then you'd go towards your dad. Well, I'm going to use dad's pattern because he seems more secure. But then what happens is that, well, you're female and then you're using a masculine pattern, and then you have this split identity because you're female on the inside, right? And then you become, say, a masculine personality on the outside, and that's why relationships don't work out for you, or they turn into a brother sister type relationship. Okay, so that's what's happening for you. And then, is that done? Okay. So what happening for you and what I'm doing for you now is helping you. So what you've done now is you've separated that identity, that masculine identity of strength and so on, whatever you saw in your dad. Okay, you can separate that, because strength does not come from a masculine or feminine space like everybody goes. Oh, strength is a masculine quality. It's not. Females have, say, a power of strength called feminine power, by the way. It's not a masculine identity. Okay. So again, removing that, say, content from the packaging of, say, strength. Okay. So now you're coming into your own identity, and this is where you will start to become more and more feminine, and a strong feminine. Okay, so nice job, congratulations. By the way, a different way, Susan. Please scan me. Yeah. So for you, what happened is that you are always, say, escaping yourself, or excusing yourself, or you always get into situations that, well, Your name says it all. A different way. It's all there's got to be a different way. There's got to be so that pattern of say trying to find yourself within yourself. Okay. So you've always done that. But what you've done is like you've got into relationships, you've got into situations, and I see that you might have learned a lot or you're experienced a lot, so to speak. But again, all those things that you've done at a physical level, no matter how great of an experience that they've been, they've never really allowed you to be yourself. And that's the point. So with XI, what you're getting into, again, congratulations. You seem kind of new, or even if you've been with XI for a little bit, you've awakened to a point. It's like, wait a second. I have to remove myself out of the equation to change the equation, right? People think that you're you are a constant in the equation of life. You think that you're a constant, and that doesn't change. You're not a constant. Okay, in your equation of life, you're a variable. Okay, that has to get better and better and better. Okay, again, most people degrade themselves, unfortunately. But so take a deep breath in, Susan. So let's help you release now that you're understanding. It's like, oh wait, I can change on the internal self. Okay, so that's a really nice place to be. I think that's a great example. Again, on your equation of life, you need to be a variable, not a constant. Okay, so some of you, by the way, who hold on and XI takes a little longer for you because this is the reason why. Okay. All right, we'll go to Oksana. Please scan my progress. So Oksana, you are coming into. It seems like you've made a line in the sand for yourself. So or a date basically, or it could be a birthday or something eventful because you're time bound, which is good. You're using it for your purpose for a positive purpose now. Before you're time bound to go. Oh shit, the end of time is coming for X, not the end of time, but the end is like by X date, if I don't do this, I'm going to die. That kind of pattern. Okay. Um, and then that date comes, and then you basically bury yourself deeper and deeper over time. Does that make sense, Oksana? In the past, that's what you've done. So now what you're doing is like, oh, I'm gonna set time markers for myself, but instead of going, shit, if I don't do X, I'm gonna bury myself or I'm gonna die. There's death in there. I think in your teens you might have not wanted to be here, by the way. Okay. If something doesn't happen, I'm gonna die. I think your mom used to do that to you, or somebody like if I don't oh, it's between your mom and dad, I think, right? Somebody would threaten to leave. If you don't do this or if this doesn't happen, I'm gonna leave. That kind of pattern seems like in your family value structure. Anyway, this time what you're doing, Asana, is that you're going, hey, by this date, this is gonna change for me, and I'm gonna be a better version of myself. So again, it's the same pattern that you're using, the opposite, again, to benefit you. Because a lot of those patterns, guys, that you use as a negative, it's not about removing those patterns, but it's about utilizing those tools or those patterns, including negative emotions, to transform and shift you into the direction that you want to be. Okay. It's not about, quelling those anger, quelling negative emotions or anything like that. It's using that as a power tool. I say that, Oksana, because I think you're going to get into say emotions that again would be considered negative back in the day, but now those emotions are going to perpetuate you to draw that sand in the line, and then you're going to do it. Okay, so nice job. This one, please scan me running fear patterns, Nilo Bear. So yes, those fear patterns, again, allow yourself, if you're in fear, observe the fear, because fear is a little harder, because as you delete the pattern, it's kind of like a program that you run that you want to delete on your computer, right? You would have to say release that pattern or shut down that program. But when you're running a fear pattern, you can't completely shut it down because it's an overall program that runs your system. Okay, it's embedded at that level. Okay, that's why fear is a little more insidious. It's a very intriguing pattern, by the way, from an XI point of view. So what's happening is, again, for those individuals who run fear, and you are at a level where you're deleting fear, a lot of fear will show up for you. But notice that that fear is, you can look at that fear. You can either just put it on the palm of your hand, and you can do that, by the way, either you, Nilo, or anybody else. Take a breath in, guys. Just notice that fear. Notice that fear that just clenches you. Okay. Notice that fear that clenches you. Take a breath in and just put it on the palm of your hands. What does that fear look like? Look at it. If it was an object or anything else, how does that appear in your hands? Right. Separate it from yourself. And as you separate it from yourself, it allows that complete program to disconnect and delete for you. And that's where you are. So nice job. Uh, Nilo. This one, Miss G, please scan my karma. Actually, there's something about you that says, I don't care anymore. So I think in the past, you used to be those individuals. Oh, wow. Yeah, in the past, you used to be a pleaser, basically, right? What do I do? What do I do? How do I shift myself? How do I transform myself to please this person? Unfortunately, a lot of women have done that to, say, get a date, or get married, or become financially independent. It's like, well, what do I do to marry this person? How do I change to marry this person so I can so I can be financially free, right, through some guy's wealth. Again, I'm not talking about you, but overall, basically, it's that pleasing person or that pleasing personality, however you describe it. Again, you morph yourself to sell yourself, basically. Okay, that's what women do. And then women go, well, what the fuck, why do I feel like a prostitute, or why did I feel like I prostituted myself? Well, because that's a pattern that you, say, initiated or you ran. Okay. And again, we blame the men for it. I'm not blaming women. I'm not blaming men. I'm just saying that's the pattern. Patterns, blame the pattern, not the person. Okay. That's something outside of you, by the way. Okay. But overall, it just brings me to that subject. Okay. So for you, what's been happening is that you're not a pleaser anymore. You're going, what's going to please me? And that's the key trait for you. So congratulations. It's like, what's going to please me, Miss G? And then when you start to understand that, you go, hey, what's going to please me? And if I like that person should, say, accentuate or elevate as I become a stronger person. So you're not degrading yourself. You're not transforming yourself, although you can transform yourself to a better version of yourself with that person. If I connect with this person, I'm going to be a better version of myself. Okay. So in the past, if I connect with this person, or I want to connect with this person, I would have to let go and remove myself. So again, notice the difference in relationship patterns. Okay. Nice job. Really nice job, by the way. Um, again, some of your comments coming back. Thanks. This one, Patricia Coyne, please scan me. So it seems like, Patricia, you're always in fear, especially with masculine pattern. Take a breath in, Patricia. So what's happening for you, Patricia? Again, there's always like, you're always like, wow. Notice your neck. I think you have neck issues, by the way. Yeah, neck issues. You're always like, something out here is demanding you to be, you're always a subservient type. It's a subservient type pattern for you. So let's stop that. Okay. Even, like, for example, God and, higher levels, but then say you get married, say you have a father, or again, a connection, a relationship. And most likely your pattern would be connecting with females that are more masculine. Again, it's always a subservient pattern. So subservient patterns are, you're never good enough, no matter how good you are. You're always saying excuse me. You're always excusing yourself or your actions or anything like that. Again, not being good enough. So take a breath in, but you're starting to elevate yourself, to promote yourself to a level. It's like, wait a second, I am good enough, right? I'm just as good as that person. I deserve to be here. So that deserving pattern is coming into you. So really nice job. Really nice job for you. This one's Bree. What an incredible topic. Thank you so much. Can I get a scan? Dad has cancer, or A. So that for you. Again, your dad your dad, just reading him, seems like, and again, please comment in. Your dad is always like one thing after another. It's always like an accident, a situation, or again, one. It's like those movies, that those perpetual. Did you guys ever watch 24 Hours or 24? Remember that guy? It's like he gets out of one situation and boom, he's in another situation and another situation and another situation. You know, time and time again. It's your father is like that. One situation gets resolved, another situation happens, right? Then he has to like put out the fire and so on, so on. And again, that's where the cancer comes in. You are watching that your family dynamics and go, shit, that's a lot of work. I don't know if I can do that, for the rest of my life. So you've like stepped away from your life, but now, again, nice job. Whatever you've done with XI has allowed you to go, has allowed you to go. Whoa, that's Dad's patterns. Especially, he's going through cancer. It's a near death situation for him. Again, I'll work on him a little bit for him to awaken. So whichever side he chooses, but for you, it's the big event for you because it's like you can remove that pattern of say always being in a situation that you always would have to put out a fire because again you've stepped away from it. Or what you do is you connect with people that always have to put out fires, if that makes sense. So your love relationships, for example, would always go, shit, they've got something else going on in their life. They've got something else going on, that kind of pattern, right? So you're stepping away from that. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it's a great opportunity for those individuals who are sick, okay, for you. Again, those individuals are sick. There's no shame in taking that opportunity. It's actually a blessing and your duty to go, shit, you know what? My family member has cancer. My family member is dying. My family member, whatever is happening to them, right? Negatively. So in this reality, what pattern is it in me? Can I release and take advantage again of the opportunity that's happening for you because that opportunity is happening for you. So when you go, shit, is there something in me that perpetuates that pattern that is a cause for their cancer, right? It's your duty to release that because you're passing that on to the next generation. By the way, you're perpetuating that. All right. So a nice place to be. So start to understand and remove the patterns that are, say, similar to you, and you can disconnect them, especially if you're doing the 18-day hyper meditations coming up in March. This RA just replying back. Yep, I've watched through XI. It's his journey. Absolutely. So thanks for the feedback. All right. This one, thanks, Team Moss. Yeah, guys, the team behind me, guys, really fantastic people, really fantastic people that put it all together here. I'm ready for a shift. Please scan me. Where did that go? I didn't see who it was, so I couldn't tap into. Sorry. Mm, I'm new. Please scan me. Okay, Ty. Rachel. So this one. So for you, Rachel, you're always in your head. You're always perpetuating. You're always thinking that if I did this. So you are a. Um, it's not a negative thing, but you're a manipulator. Okay. And again, I'm not talking about a negative. It's not negative. Manipulation is actually positive if you do it right. When you're manipulating people to the negative, it's not a good thing. I manipulate people all day long, and it's the best thing that ever happened to them. So again, don't take it as a bad way, but basically you're a thinker. Okay. You're a thinker and you're going, yeah. So again, so manipulation, and this is the key, Rachel, is that what you do is like you're a thinker. It's like, how am I going to get out of the situation? So you try to make the best out of that situation. That's manipulating the situation again. So I'm using the first principle definition of manipulation. Manipulation, again, in the pure sense, is like manipulating your environment so it turns out to be best, not just for you, because if you do it in the XI way, you can manipulate your environment. So if it's best for you, it's best for other people. Okay. That's where manipulation gets a bad word in this reality, because what people do is like they take their piece of the pie, for example, but then everybody else gets ruined. In the XI definition of manipulation, hey, I got my piece of the pie And then it's like, oh, I can make my own pie, the people around you. Does that make sense for you? So you raise. So the key point for you, Rachel, is that you're always in your head, you're always thinking, you're always, again, not a negative word, conniving. You're always thinking of, how do I get out of this situation, or how do I say save myself? Okay. So deep down inside, okay, you're not a bad person. You're a very beautiful person. But basically, you find your. I'll put it in a nice way for you. I use XI terminology, guys, not the negative terminology that's associated with a lot of words. Okay. So for you, Rachel, what's happening is like, how do I get out of the situation? So you're always thinking in your head, but you've forgotten about your body. Okay, which is very key. So if you did the 18-day hyper meditations, if you did spatial referencing, for example, you'll start to pull into your identity, and you'll start to use not your brain. Okay, your brain is good to use, but you'll start to tap into that super intelligence of yours. And this is where, again, you've got great connection, or you've got great intuitive, say, possibilities that you've shut down. Okay, because they didn't, and this is what happens when you're a kid. You have great, say, intuitive possibilities, but then you didn't know how, you didn't train yourself the proper way, or your parents didn't train you, and you go, shit, I'm going to shut down my intuition. I'm going to use logic. Okay. So again, it's not that your intuition was bad, but the way you used it back in the day, it would perpetuate you into a deeper hole, like it has some of your family members. Okay. So in this situation, what you can do is turn that around. Okay. Open yourself back up to that intuition properly, disconnect from, say, the family value structure of using intuition, and then move forward, and then use a whole body, say, genius, or your body brain, as I call it, to again manipulate or transform your reality for the benefit of you and others. Okay. um Boy, I could get myself into trouble using XI definition compared to other definitions. By the way, XI podcast, guys, this third version coming up, it's all going to be about first principle definitions, what words really mean, or what words are really supposed to be, compared to your, say, genetic patterns, how your genetic patterns, how your, say, super intelligence, how your genome would use those emotions or those words. Okay. That we've attached really strange meanings. So much terminology is inverted. Yeah, XI reverse it to its true meaning. I know there's so much, just like karma. Again, it's used to oppress people, right? There's so much out there. Anger used to oppress people. Anger is bad. No, in reality, anger is really fantastic if you use it the right way, not against people, not against yourself, but anger is used to perpetuate yourself into a different direction, right? So you're stuck in a rut. Anger, again, is that tool that would, say, pull you out of that rut into another direction. You would need that force in its original form. That's what anger is about. But again, most people use anger to dig deeper into the rut that they're in, and then that rut becomes a grave for them. So will there be a total human reset again this year? Absolutely. I believe it's in October. We're going to do it once a year because it's such an intense course. So we're going to do it once a year, and then you can redo, by the way, so it'll save you money as well. Uh, you can redo that course throughout the year for you again and again, because it's so powerful. You can do the recordings. You can do it 3 times, 4 times a year on your own, which is really a good, say, fantastic journey to become independent, because that's what total human reset is about. All right. One more, and then we're done. Let's see. This one, Firoza. Sorry if I mispronounced. Please help me clear my karmic history and help me close help me close all old tabs. Thank you. Yeah. So for you, you have a family, say, um, in your family, there's superstition, religion, that kind of type of stuff, that darkness that is a cloud over your family. This is where you might think your family has bad luck, or basically what you would have to do, you would have to expend, say, 100% more energy to get something done compared to somebody else outside of you, right? So say so things come hard for you. You have to work your ass off to again get something or work at something, okay, to get something done. And you're wondering why that is. It's like my friend, she doesn't even do anything, and like things just show up for her. That kind of scenario. So for you, again, you let's just start to disconnect you, um, because it's not again the level of work that you do, and then what you've done in the past is like, okay, well, I'll try harder and I'll try harder. But again, the harder you try, around, the harder it gets for you. So, and you've reached a point that's like, shit, I don't want to do that anymore. So take a breath in. Let's just start to separate you and say the pattern of how you think good things should come to you. Because in your family dynamics, basically what you're saying is like, in my family or this family, if I'm in this family, it dictates that good things have to I have to pay a heavy price for good things to show up in my life. It doesn't work that way. You can create any type of scenario that you want. For example, you can go, wow, I enjoy the work that I do to achieve or accomplish great things. That's a scenario or a program that you can instill. So what I was doing for you, Firoza, is just like separating that identity, and you're going to start to observe the family dynamics, the family pattern. It's like, oh my God, that's why I had to do X in my life, because mom was doing it this way and so on like that. Okay. All right. This one, somebody at DD, how to sign up to be one of the 9 people. If the team can put that link back on, I don't know if it's on there. I think you can sign up through that link, guys, on that. Okay. Um, all right, guys. As we end, I think it's been a great show. Remember, guys, to subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. All right. And tell your friends about it. It's crazy guys helping change the world. And he even looks crazy. All righty, guys. As we end, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you're noticing. Peace.